Okay, so let me start. In the last lecture, we were doing something called quadratic, right? We are done with quadratic, and what we started was the locus. And in locus, we came across something called straight line. In a straight line, we derive various formula. So let me just recap. Tell me something. What was the first formula we derived in the straight line? Which form?
2.4.
Very good. And what was that? If x1, y1, x2, y2 are 2 points, then what was the equation? Format?
Y minus y1 upon x minus x1 equals y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1.
And the other form, anybody who remembers the other form?
Sir, the x minus x1 will go towards the other side of the equal sign.
Yeah, so we can write this entire term as small m, right?
Huh.
And what we call this form?
Slope point.
Slope point form. Very good. And then we derive one more thing. And what is this called? This form is called
Slope intercept.
slope intercept form. And then the last was
Double intercept.
Very good. What was that?
Y by b plus x by a equals 1.
Excellent. And then maybe there may be many more actually. So I think I gave some homework, derive the equation of a straight line for the given graph. How many of you derived the equation?
Sir, I did it.
Send me on WhatsApp. I'll check. And those who haven't done will be part of punishment. Okay. So how to give punishment online? I mean, this is something new thing, and I'm not used to giving punishment online. Offline is easy. So one question which I gave was this I think I solved in the class only. Right? And this was the PV graph, right? And the volume was V and V naught and 3 V naught. And the pressure was P naught and no, this is 2 P naught. So what was this equation? The
P
equation this
equals,
time? Yeah, tell me.
P equals 5 p naught by z. No, 2.
Oh, copy and paste, huh? By Z. Yeah,
Minus
by
p naught v by 2v naught.
P naught V by.
2v naught.
So this was the derivation, right?
Yes.
And what is the equation? Okay, I gave one more equation in a triangular shape actually. I think I gave a versus V versus T, right?
I versus t.
Yeah, that's also okay. So it's called voltage versus time. So there are two lines, as you can see. The first line is between 0 to t by t naught by 4. And the second line you can clearly see is from t naught by 4 up to t naught by 2. And of course, these are not lines, these are line segment, but these are part of some line. So we are supposed to find the equation of the line of which these are part of. So what is the answer? I think no one has seen the PDF. The last lecture PDF I shared, in which it was clearly mentioned that you are supposed to solve. Then why didn't solve? See, these are not basic math. These are basic, or you can say standard problem of physics. And as I said, okay, how like whatever maths you might be learning in the future, it is always difficult to apply in physics. So do apply here. Then only I can understand okay, whether you're learning or not in the right manner. Very good. Hmm. Okay. Ah, you cannot take t naught by 4 as the origin. I think you have not taken. Yeah.
No, I did not use that
Yeah,
point.
yeah, yeah. Good. So you use the 2 point form, right?
Yes.
Mm. All right. Everyone, please solve me and tell me the answer for this question. Find the question of straight line for the part 1 and part 2. Just 3 minutes. Everyone. So anyone having doubt how to get the question? So tell me the answer, please, everyone. Done, guys? Tell me the answer. Siddhant, what is the answer for the first part? What will be the answer for the first part? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Sir,
Mhm.
I got slopes value, which is
Mhm.
4 I naught upon T naught.
4.
4 I naught upon T naught.
No, for this question, I mean, here we have voltage and all.
4 V naught upon T naught.
4 V naught upon T naught into what? This is the slope, na? So what is the equation? Equation, how we write equation? The y is v and the x is t. So I want the answer in terms of v and t because v and t are my variables. So is this the equation of line? Tell me, Siddhant. Is this the equation of line?
No, sir.
Then what is the equation of line? Come on.
So Y is equal to mx plus c.
Okay, so y is v. This is m. X is t. And what is c?
T naught by 4
C. Okay, okay. So you don't know the what is c. C is called the
is Y intercept.
y-intercept, which
V
means
naught,
where
sorry.
it cuts the y-axis. So the first line is cutting the y-axis at which point?
V naught.
Huh? See, the line is cutting the axis. You can see visually. It's a visible thing. It's not something mathematical. Can you see it?
At 0.
Of course, at zero.
Oh,
So that is the meaning of intercept, where it is intersecting the y-axis. And so this is the equation for the duration. You can say 0 up to t naught by 4. What will be the equation for the next line between the t naught by 4 to t naught by 2? And I have told you, okay, always use the 2-point form in doubt. Whenever in doubt, when you don't see the things in simpler way, you can just write the coordinate. What is the coordinate of this point, by the way? Tell me, guys, what is the coordinate of this point?
T naught
T
by
naught
4.
by 4, comma, T naught.
Comma?
D naught.
Very good. And what is the coordinate of this point?
T naught by 2, comma, 0.
So because you know the 2-point, can you write the 2-point form and get the answer of V? So you solve for the 2-point form and get your answer. Tell me the answer now. For any straight line, the simple rule is you find the 2-point, you write the equation and get the answer. Why there is so much doubt? Hmm?
Yes, sir, got it.
Tell me.
V is equal to minus 4 V naught T upon T naught.
That's it.
Plus T
plus
plus 2 V naught.
it seems to be digit. Anybody else getting the same answer? Rugved, you got the same answer?
Yes.
Prasansha, you got the same answer?
Yes.
Hmm? Straight line formulas are not meant to mug up the formula and be happy about it. It is supposed to use when it is required. So please use these formulas. I mean, if you know the formula, try to understand how to use it. And if you're getting something incorrect, you can analyze that why I'm getting incorrect.
Sir, in this case, how do we find the y-intercept?
And of course, there's no need to find them. The thing is like, you can extend this line. So you can do it geometrically. If you know geometry, in fact, Trigo will help you if you really want to do it that way. So you can extend this line till it cuts the y-axis like this. And you may use the similar triangle, correct? And if you use the similar triangle, you will get this is 2 V naught. So this height, you can assume something. So you can call this height as, let's say, h. So h upon t naught by 2 is same as v naught upon t naught by 4. I mean, sorry, t naught by 4. Yeah, luckily that's coming the same. So if you use the tan theta formula, it's the same answer. So in a small triangle, you will get v naught upon t naught by 4 tan theta. In a bigger triangle, you can write as h upon t naught by 2. And this is basically 1 by 2, which means so you can extend the line. It's like a geometrical construction, and then you get the answer. But that is again, if you are using the 2-point form, that is not required, correct? So using 2-point form, what you can write? You can choose anyone as the 1.11, others 1.22. So y minus, I'll just write for this, y minus y1. I'll take the results. So y minus y1 upon x minus x1 is y2 minus y1 x2 minus x1. That's it. What is y here? Okay, I should have written v here anyway. You can see this is minus v naught by t. And then you can just rearrange. So v minus v naught is minus 4 v naught by t naught into t minus t naught by 4. This will give you v equals to minus 4 v naught by t naught into t. The second term is plus v naught, and this v naught will become 2 v naught. So if you rearrange, you will get the same answer. So I hope everyone is understanding this part, how it is coming.
Yes.
See, tell me if you're not getting this part, because this is not very difficult thing. Sorry. And let me tell you, all the challenging problem of kinematics are going to be based on this one. Okay. So let's say I will draw something called a velocity time graph. Velocity time graph, in which I will choose the y-axis to represent velocity, and the x-axis to represent time. And it's a very common convention to keep the dependent variable on the y-axis and independent one on the x-axis. It's a kind of tradition. So time is what? What kind of variable? Dependent or independent?
Dependent.
Time is
Dependent.
dependent.
Independent.
See, no matter what, time will always pass, right? So can we hold the time?
No.
Can we control the speed of the car?
Yes.
You can stop the car. Can you stop the time? So time is the universal independent variable. No one can stop it. It will progress no matter what you're doing. Whether the velocity is there or not there, you're driving the car, you're stopping, you're having breakfast, you're having snacks. No matter what is happening in the universe, time will never stop. Okay, so time is only stopped in the philosophy, in some of the Bollywood songs, or maybe in some other song also. But time never stops. Okay. And now let's say this is the graph given to you. Try to understand why we are learning things. We are not learning because it's maths. It's because we are going to use in physics extensively. And now if you look at this graph, what you realize looking at this graph? That velocity is
Constant.
constant. It's not changing with time up to this instant. So this is very much a real life situation. Like you're driving on a highway and it's a straight highway. There is no traffic, nothing is there. So you will just drive uniformly. And then suddenly what you see next is a car on the road. What do you do next? You apply the brake, isn't it? And once you apply the brake, the car will decelerate and so your velocity will decrease. Okay. So once you apply the brake, it will stop. And now maybe this is given as, let's say, 3 seconds. And this is given as, let's say, 5 seconds. And if I choose the velocity as, let's say, 10 meters per second, precisely the velocity with which the Usain Bolt runs or sprints, which is 9 point something. It's less than 10. I mean, sorry. Yeah, roughly it is 10, 9.9. 10 meters per second is not small. If you, sorry. So if you convert into kilometer per hour, it is how much? 10 into 18 by 5, which is roughly 36 kilometer per hour. So if meter per second is given, and once you multiply with 18 by 5, what you get is corresponding kilometer per hour. So Usain Bolt can run as fast as 36 kilometer per hour, which is much more than the Mumbai traffic speed, isn't it? So the average Mumbai traffic is 20 kilometer per hour. It's in the evening, it goes worst 10 kilometer per hour. Okay. Now, given this, okay, so they may ask you, okay, find the slope of the yellow line. What is the slope? Tell me, guys, what is the slope of this line?
Pi.
Plus or minus? Slope is always y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1, right? And if you apply this formula, what will you get? So you need to add the coordinate
A
first.
negative.
Yeah, it's negative, of course. So what is the coordinate of this point?
10,3. So 3,10.
Hmm. And what is the coordinate of this point?
5,0.
So what is the slope now? Tell me. y2 minus y1. What is y2 you are taking?
Y2 is 10.
You are taking y2 as 10. Okay, fine. So 10 minus 0 upon.
3 minus 5.
Yeah. So no matter how you write, it will be always minus 2. Sorry, minus 5. So slope is minus 5, which means in the VT graph later on you will learn this is called acceleration. So the acceleration turns out to be minus 5 meter per second square, because that is the definition of acceleration. It is the slope of VT graph, and because it is negative, so we can say it is opposing the velocity. And that exactly happens when you apply the brakes. You decelerate, and the negative sign is showing that the velocity is positive, but the acceleration is negative. And because they have opposite signs, so it's a concept of deceleration. Understood? So this is simply deceleration. What is the slope of this part? So tell me the slope of this part.
0.
0. Very good. And the 0 slope means the acceleration is 0. And because the acceleration is 0, so it means it is moving uniformly. It is not changing the velocity. And that is the precise definition of acceleration. The rate of change of velocity is called acceleration. So if velocity is constant, it means it is not changing. And if it is not changing, it means it is 0. Understood? So the entire kinematics is all about a straight line. If you're not getting here, the same difficulty will face there. Then how I'm going to, teach you guys kinematics and claim that, okay, you must be learning everything. The straight line is the kinematics. You can say 99% question of kinematics can be solved with straight line question. Okay, yeah, 99%. Even the JEE advanced and the Olympiad level question can be solved only with the help of the equation. And by the way, what is the equation of this line, the slant line, if I ask you? And this is unique, like how to write the equation of the flat line. So these two equations are very important, and I'll just show you how to write the equation of a line which is either parallel to the x-axis or parallel to the y-axis. So this is the two story that you need to learn. Any line parallel to the y-axis, parallel to the x-axis. How to write the equation? Anything which is parallel to the x-axis, which means the y value of every location, every point on this line will be same or different.
Same.
So the way of writing is y equals to constant. This is called the equation of line which is parallel to x-axis. Similarly, if I draw a line parallel to y-axis, how it will look like? So any line which is parallel to the y-axis, what will remain same for everything? If you choose any point on this line, what will be same? X or y?
Sir, X.
So this is written as x equals to constant. So x equals to constant represents a vertical line, and y equals to constant represents a horizontal line. Is this clear? Is this clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
That's very, 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 very important. Again, in maths also, and in physics, it is anyway the extremely important. You must understand when we say x equals to constant is a vertical line, and when we say y equals to constant, it's a horizontal line. And when you write the equation, it is always slant. So if either x is not constant or y is not constant, the remaining equation will be slant. With you can now choose the various format to get the answer. Okay. So can you guys tell me the equation of this line, by the way? What will be the equation this line?
Y
Don't say
equals
even.
to 10.
Hmm?
Y equals to 10.
This line, this
Oh.
slant one. Yeah, this is correct. Very good. This is V equals to 10. Very good. That's correct. Very good. What about this slant one?
Sir, V is equal to minus 5t plus 20.
V equals to minus 5t
Minus
plus 20, right? Okay. Is it correct? This is not correct, I think. Check again. Use the 2-point form again. Tell me the answer.
Yes, sir.
Sir, V equals minus t plus 3 by 2.
V equals. Yeah. Tell me. V equals. Hello. Am I audible? Hello, guys. Am I audible? No.
Yes, sir, I got it. V is equal to minus 5t plus 25.
Yeah.
Yes,
V
sir,
equals
I
to
got the same
minus
answer.
Minus
minus
5t
5
plus
Minus
25.
5t
plus.
plus 25.
Very good. That's an excellent right answer. And this is justifiable. Why? If I put a V equals to 0, I should get 5. The t value is 5, na? Because at 5 seconds, the velocity is 0, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now, what will happen after 5? Now, the car has been stopped. Now, technically, in real life, the car is stopped. So, it will stop, it will remain there. But in physics, it's a very interesting situation. If we can keep on creating the retardation, if the, let's say, the braking system is working all the time, and let's say it is not being stopped by the car, that is stopped by some air drag. So you're trying to drive against the storm, and the storm is so powerful that it is trying to stop you. So because the storm is acting all the time, so what will happen next? You will not only stop, you will go back, isn't it? So imagine you are moving a plane now, a fighter plane, and then there is a storm. Once the engine fuel will be consumed, the wind thrust is good enough to throw you back. So in physics, if I say the acceleration is still maintained, your journey will start in the reverse direction, because once you have stopped, you will not go forward. But can you go backward? Can you go backward? Yes or no? Because the acceleration is still maintained. The one who is pushing you back, is always acting. Imagine something like this is happening. So what will happen? Now you will go back, yes or no? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how to represent that thing in mathematics? Like mathematically, when you turn the direction of velocity, how we interpret the same thing. So you can see there is something called velocity, there is something called origin, there is something called up, there is something called down. So anything above the origin is a positive value of velocity. So anything below the origin will be negative value. And in physics, if the positive value represents the motion towards right, let's say, then negative always represents motion towards left. So whatever direction the positive we are going to interpret, the negative will be opposite of that. That is a thumb rule. And therefore, we can extend this line further. I'll just change the color. So if acceleration will continue, this graph will not stop, or rather it will continue in the negative direction. And therefore, what will happen? And therefore, the negative value of velocity, because it's below the axis, the negative value of velocity represents what? It represents the reverse direction of motion of the object. So all the positive value is representing the forward direction, let's say, then all the negative value is representing backward direction. So that is how we interpret. Understood?
Yes, sir.
And now these are going to be your challenging problem of kinematics. So when we learn the more of the physical interpretation of this graph, then you will realize that why it is so important. So we are not trying to only learn mathematics, just few bunch of formulas, and we are happy with it, that we know everything. Physics demands the intuition that whatever you are saying about the formula, do you really understand the formula? Do you really understand the meaning of intercept? Do you? And if the answer is yes, it's really good. If the answer is no, then you have to learn the meaning of it. So formulas are not sufficient. I'll show you some very challenging problem of kinematics. Which are purely based on the concept of straight line. And you cannot solve unless you do not understand the line concept. Okay. So these are the y-axis and x-axis. So three friends decide to walk. Out of the three friends, two decides to walk along the axis. So one of the particle and all start simultaneously. So one starts walking like this with some speed v1 uniformly. Sorry. And other decides to walk in this direction uniformly, but with a different speed. Let's call it v2. So, okay, we'll talk about the third one. So after time t, how much first particle or first person will walk in terms of distance? So I hope you know the basic formula, that distance is speed time relation. So distance equals to, because the speed is constant, so distance will be speed into time, right?
Yes, sir.
Anyone who is not knowing this part? Okay, I don't think so. So after time t, where the first particle will be? Somewhere here. Can you tell me the coordinate of this particle at time t?
Sir, V1T.
Very good. So the coordinate of the first particle after time t will be v1t comma 0. Similarly, what will be the coordinate of the other particle, guys? Tell me.
0, v2t.
Very good. So after some time it is v1t comma 0. After some time it is v2 0 comma v2t. So at any instant, if I join these 2 points, what I'll get? A straight line, isn't it? And now the third person is having the constraint of walking. So it is told to him that you must walk in such a way that you must lie on the line obtained by joining the position of first and second part. So the third has to walk in such a way that he must lie on this line always. So the question is, what is the minimum velocity that, or what is the constant velocity that he must have so that he always remains on this line? So there are many ways we are supposed to find the minimum velocity of a third party. So find the minimum velocity of third party such that all three remains on straight line. So third has to walk, and because he has to walk with the least velocity, then how he must walk to reach the line quickly or quickest? How to reach the line in the shortest time? How one should walk? Like this, or like this, perpendicular.
Perpendicular.
Because the perpendicular is the shortest distance from the line to the point. Again, it's a geometry of maths. So what is the smallest separation between any line and any point? How to find the shortest separation from the point to the line?
Perpendicular distance.
Exactly, it is perpendicular. Okay. So perpendicular is the shortest distance. This is the D minimum. So once we have the line, the third guy must walk in the same time at least this much to be part of this line. So this in the time t, he must walk how much? V3 into t. And this is sorry, this is a triangle. Okay. Is it possible to find the coordinate of this point P? And if yes, then how? Anyone knows how to find the coordinate of this point? The point which is the perpendicular from the origin?
Yes, sir, I think it is possible.
Yeah. Tell me.
Sir, first
So
we
the
find
product
the,
of the slopes would be minus.
Yeah, so that is the, you can solve in many ways. It's like intersection of the two lines, right? So you may write the equation of two line and you equate the two equation to get the intersection point. Yeah, you were saying something. Tell me.
yeah, sir, I was saying first we find the equation of OP line and
Yeah, yeah.
and
Okay.
then or we can find the slope of both the lines and then we can equate.
Yeah. And there is one more equation in straight line which I didn't give, and that is called the parametric form. So let me give you that equation, then we'll come back to this problem. Okay, that's very interesting. And that will be used more often in mathematics than in physics. But always remember that in JEE Advanced, the physics always comes through graph, and the graph means the understanding of maths is essential. So, what is the parametric equation for any line? For any line, we can draw a perpendicular, and what we know is this length p, which is perpendicular length, that is what we know, and we know this angle theta. Okay, and once this is known to you, the p and the theta, you can easily find the length of base, right? So which trigonometric equation will relate the p with the base? Any idea?
The sine cos theta.
Yeah, definitely it's cos theta. So we can add cos theta equals to the base. Let's call it x. So base is how much? Cos theta equals to how much? P by x, I think. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
I don't call it x. X here is confusing variable. Let call L. So cos theta is how much, guys?
P by L.
So I got L, na? So L is how much? P by cos theta. So I know the coordinate of this point, which is P by cos theta, comma 0. And because you know the P, can you find this point? The coordinate. Same thing you can do. This is theta. This is 91 theta. So this is again theta. You can do the same trick. So I think you can apply the sine theta formula, right? But you can see sine theta will be how much? Opposite upon hypotenuse P by H. So H will be how much? P by sine theta, isn't it? And now I'm really good to go with, and what I'm good to go with that the equation of this line will be how much? You can use the double intercept form, right? So let me do on this page. So we know the formula x by a plus y by b equals to 1. What is a here, guys? What is a? What is b? And what is L? P by cos theta. What is H? P by sin theta. And this will give you the really simple answer that x cos theta sorry, plus y sin theta equals to P. This is called the parametric form. Or I think perpendicular form. Okay. And there are many more things you can see. This is so famous. In physics, it comes very often in multiple forms, not at one place, but across chapters. You will see that okay, you have to implement something like this once or many times. Actually. Not just once, many times. Let's go back to the basic geometry. So the moment you have a straight line and the moment you have the base, what is base here? So let's say base is A and this is B. How to find the perpendicular by basic geometry? I want to find perpendicular in terms of A and B. And this is again very famous, like how to find the distance of the shortest distance between the origin and the line given the x and y intercept. So I am trying to find a P given A and given B. So if you want to try, you can try for some time, then I'll give you the answer. I'm giving you 2 minutes to think about it. You can choose whatever you want. And that's very interesting that we can always find the P in terms of N. That is interesting. Okay. So it's a basic geometry. You can apply the basic geometry, or you can do a trigonometry, you can do something more. To find the perpendicular for any triangle, it's very easy. Given A and B, it's a right angle triangle, so we can get the answer in multiple ways. So the first method is like take this as theta. Okay. So tell me how to relate the P with A and theta. It's simple, sin theta. And can we write as P by A?
Yes.
But if you look at the biggest triangle, we can also write sin theta as what? Sin theta in a big triangle is how much, guys?
B by the slope.
The length of the hypotenuse, right?
B
Which
of
in-
B
which
square
in-
plus A square.
Yeah, that's the Pythagoras, no? So basically, P is always AB upon under root of A square plus B square. And see, the knowing the the x-intercept and the y-intercept, the perpendicular always follow this formula. And this is what we have to apply in the previous question. So in the previous question, we know the P, yes or no? We know the x-intercept, we know the y-intercept. What is the relationship between all three? So here we can write the P equals to what? P equals
AB.
to AB. What is A? V1T into V2T. AB is correct. Under root of A square plus V square. And T square I'm taking common, so that will become T here. The T, all T cancels. Yes or no? And we have the answer. What is V3? V1, V2 upon under root of. Now this is the challenging problem. So you were supposed to find the V3. Okay. Which is always perpendicular to the line joining the V1 and V2, the first person and the second person. And the minimum velocity, the velocity which you must move is V1, V2 upon under root of V1 square plus V2 square. Is this clear? Okay. So let's say V1, V2 are the two enemies and you want to shoot both of them. So you must move with V3 so that all three are collinear, then you can shoot easily, right? Okay, any. So the perpendicular, there is a very interesting way of finding this answer. What is the area for a triangle? Area for triangle is how much? Half into base into height. Can we write like this? Half AB.
Yes.
But we can also take the hypotenuse as the base, which is under root of A square plus B square. If I take that as the base, what is the height? If I choose this as the base, this is the height.
Yes, sir.
So I can also write this into P. And therefore the P turns out to be how much? AB upon. So this is how we get the perpendicular through the area definition. We can use trigonometry to get, and that, of course, the third method is what? Finding the equation of a straight line. Finding the coordinate of this point. So you have to draw a perpendicular from here. And once you draw a perpendicular, so if this is P, the coordinate will be how much? Can we say this is P cos theta, comma P sin theta? Yes or no? I just changed alpha, not to confuse. So can we write like this? Tell me, guys. P cos theta is this point with the coordinate. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello,
Yes.
hello. And if that is the coordinate, it must satisfy the line equation because the. So what is the line equation, guys? X by A plus Y by B equals to 1. What is X? So any point on the line must satisfy this equation. So I can substitute X by what? P cos theta. I can substitute Y by P sin theta. And this must give me 1. And again, I can find the cos theta. What is cos theta? In a big triangle. So this is theta. This is 90 minus theta. This is theta. So in a bigger triangle, the biggest triangle, that cos theta is how much? uh, in a big triangle, the cos theta will be b upon, am I right? B upon under root of
A square plus B square.
and sin theta is how much? What is sin theta?
A upon under root of A square plus B square.
Very good. And now I can take common, something common. So I'm getting b by a plus a by b. And this is nothing but the b square plus a square by ab. And you can see this is the term which is same here. So I can cancel out. How we should write further? So e upon, and this we can write as under root of a square plus b square whole square, isn't it? And this I can cancel out. Are you guys getting this? So I can see p turns out to be. So of course, straight line is also one of the way to get the answer. So there are many ways in which you can get the same answer. So the application is everywhere. Okay, I hope this is clear. So you must be understanding that, okay, the physics questions are actually manipulation of mathematics. And there is a like, of course, there's like two separate, you can say, ideas which plays together to get you, I mean, which generally gives the answer. One is the concept. So concept we derive from physics, but the solution to the problem we only derive from mathematics. So from physics, you can only expect the concept. And if you're not good with math, then you will eventually blame the physics that I'm not good at physics. The thing is, it's not. Once you draw the concept from physics, it is up to you to apply the ideas of mathematics, put things into perspective, apply the formulas which you have learned, learn the method of derivation in case if you don't remember things. And that way you will become champion of physics set. So what will really help you is the way you think in mathematics or the way you apply the mathematics in physics. So it is intermingled. Always I say, like, don't isolate the subject. They are working together, and physics is only meant for deriving the concept, but everything is mathematical manipulation. Okay. So the manipulation part, if you're not doing today, you are going to struggle tomorrow. So every derivation which I'm given in lecture, if you're not practicing enough, if you're not, applying in the question, your struggle will remain for life. That is the fact in physics. I cannot take away that struggle unless someone is not willing to, make your hand dirty. You have to write things. You have to write, take pen, paper, read question, write something, draw something, write something, draw something, write something, draw something until you get it right. And that is the habit which you have to eventually develop or inculcate. Okay. So I think enough of straight line. I'll go to something new. So every other equation which we talk about. So I'll give you a basic glimpse of other types of locus, which are pretty easy to understand. So if I ask you, what is circle? What is circle? How you're going to define? Like imagine that if you have a compass and you are trying to draw a circle, what exactly you do to draw the circle? And that will be precisely the definition that you are supposed to answer here. At least try. Come on, guys. It is not
So each
important that you get
point,
the yeah. Someone is
each
saying.
point on the circle has the same distance, which is the radius from the center.
Yeah. So very good. That's the idea of. Now I'll just refine it in a more sophisticated way and will tell you. But that is the essence. Like the point is moving, keeping its distance constant from some other point. That's the idea, right? So a point is moving, keeping its distance from some point constant. Correct? That is the whole idea. Yes or no? Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So if I draw any coordinate system, let's say XY, if I take a point, any point, and then I'm telling or instructing a point, a random point, namely X comma Y, that you have to walk or move in such a way that your distance should not change from this guy. Just this guy as alpha comma beta, or you can say x1 comma y1, or you can say anything. The rule is the guy has to walk or move, but the separation should not change. Let's the separation is r. That should not change. So definitely you have to walk in a circle. I mean, in a, of course, in a path which we will be calling circle as per definition of maths. So any random point on this curve has a constraint of walking, and the constraint is that you should not vary the separation from this point, which is fixed point in plane. So circle is what? It is the locus. See, every definition in coordinate geometry comes from the locus. And therefore, you must be good with locus. Like, what is the meaning of this curve, that curve? And every curve is some sort of constraint. Okay, so that you have to work like this. You give some sort of relationship or a condition for them to work, and the condition defines the shape. Okay, this one. So it is the locus of points or locus of point which moves in such a way that its distance from a fixed point remains constant. The fixed point is called center and fixed distance is called radius. That is how we define things in physics, in mathematics. Now, given 2 points, can you find the distance using the distance formula we have done in vector? So what is the distance formula? Distance r equals to under root of anybody? x1 minus x2 whole square plus y2 minus y1. Hello, hello, hello.
Yes.
I hope you know this simple formula. So
Yes.
this is the formula. Like you write the distance by the formula, you write x2 minus x1 whole square, y2 minus y1 whole square, you add the values. And therefore, if we square both sides, this we call equation of circle. With center at alpha comma beta and radius r. Now, as you learn more in mathematics, there are very nice second order equation of to derive, write the equation of circle. But again, in physics, we need a very small idea. Just the basic idea is good enough. Actually, this is the sufficient idea to start your math journey also. But in maths, you will study thousands of formulas and you will feel, okay, these are mathematics. But the thing is, the definition itself is maths. Everything else is the part of the definition. And if you're not understanding those parts through the definition, it means you're not learning maths at all. If a teacher is telling you, okay, this is the formula in maths, then it means he doesn't know maths at least. So in maths, there is no formula. In maths, only derivation. And one should be able to come to the formula through the derivational steps. So let me draw something and you will tell me what is the answer. So imagine if I draw a circle in which the center coincides with the origin. And let's say the radius is a. And if I ask you what should be the equation of the circle, you need not to mug up the formula, you can just derive it quickly. So what is the best way to derive? Choose any point on the circle. Call it x comma y because that's how we assume the variables. And what is the definition? Locus definition? Tell me, guys. The definition is the distance between the point and the center must be. Hello, hello, hello.
Constant.
Constant. So that's the simple definition. So what we should write here? Tell me. Come on, tell me.
So A is equal to root of x square
A
plus y
equals to, that's it.
Yeah, root of.
square plus y
X
square.
square plus y square.
So if I square both sides, I can get x square plus y square equals to. And this is very much the equation of circle. where A is the radius. And you can see alpha beta here is 0, 0, isn't it? Alpha, beta is 0, 0, yes or no?
Yes.
And if you substitute the alpha beta here, we get the same answer. So you can add x minus 0 whole square plus y minus 0 whole square equals to a square. Everything comes from only one definition. The rest is up to you. I'll give you some like question like this, and you can easily solve. In fact, you can solve the entire board level problem only with this idea. This is sufficient. If I draw a circle like this, see how the ideas come in the picture. And the only information given to you is that its radius is a. Can you tell me the equation of the circle? And it is touching the x-axis and touching the y-axis. That is the constant. You can get the answer from there. So what will be the equation of the circle? So for every equation of circle, what we need to know is we need to know the center location, the coordinate of center, and the coordinate and the radius. That is sufficient. I think. Tell
So
me.
we have to find equation of radius.
No, equation of circle. The x-y relation. Any point on this circle, a general point, let's say x and y, what relationship it will follow? That's the question.
So I got the answer as a equals to root of x minus a whole square plus y minus
Yeah, so you can square both sides. No? X minus a whole square plus
plus
y
y
minus
minus
a whole square equals to a square. That's the right
equals
answer.
to
That's pretty much right answer. And you can expand also to get a nicer view. X square plus a square minus 2xa y square plus a square minus 2ay. And then you can see x square plus y square minus 2ax minus 2ay plus a square equals to 0. That's also way of writing, which is not nice. This is easy. And that's the right answer. Very good. And because you can clearly see the coordinate of the center will be how much? So the height is a, because that's the radius. This length is also a, because it's radius. And luckily these are the distance from the origin. So this is a comma a. So the coordinate of the center itself is a comma a, which we know. And because we know the center, we know the radius, I can choose any point. And the rest is simple, x minus a whole square. Always easy to find. Is this clear?
Yes.
sir.
So you can understand circle. It's not very difficult. Okay, let me do one more. The center lies at a comma 0. What is the question? The only information given is the center lies at a comma 0. And the graph is drawn, the circle is drawn to you. You can easily understand what is the radius. Can you guess the radius?
So A.
Yeah, it's a. So you know the radius, you know the coordinate of center, you can get the answer. What is the answer? X minus alpha
X
square
minus
plus y minus beta square equals to a square. So the equation of the straight line will be how much? Tell me, guys. Sorry, equation of circle is how much? So what is the equation?
sir,
X
X minus A
X minus A whole square plus y square equals to A
equal
square.
to
very good. So let's do some more slightly challenging one. So we have a circle of radius r, and from the center this is the height h, and the radius of the circle is r. So you can see the x-axis will act as a chord, right? Yeah, I'll not give h. I'll remove the h. Let's say h is not given. So that is the trick part. What is given is the length of the chord So generally this diagram will be not given to you. So given the chord length as A and the radius as R, what will be the equation of circle? Or I can make it better. Let's say this is root 3r. Let's say that will be easy to use for calculation purpose. So to find the equation of any circle, what we need to know the coordinate of center, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the x coordinate of center? What is
Sir,
the
a
x
by 2.
coordinate? What is the x coordinate of center? You can clearly see something very interesting. The distance of center from this is how much? R. And that is radius, right? And that is exactly the, see, any distance from the y-axis is the x coordinate, right? What do you mean by x coordinate? The distance from the y line. That's the meaning, no? So whether you find from the origin or you find from the y-axis, it's the same thing. And what is the distance of what is the y coordinate? Y coordinate is the distance from the x-axis. So distance from the x-axis is called y coordinate. And you can see AB is not beginning from origin. It is slightly ahead. So this distance is not known. We only know AB. Do we know this part? So if you call A by 2, is that the distance from the origin? The answer is no. So first of all, the x coordinate is going to be R. And let's say the y coordinate is H. Now, how to find H? Because H is not given to us directly, rather the AB length is given. So in any circle, you can always join the periphery with the center. And once you draw this, you can clearly see it's a right angle triangle in which this length is always R, because that's radius. And because AB is given as A, this is how much? A by 2. Given the R and A by 2, can you find the H using Pythagoras? So using Pythagoras, what you can write? Tell me. Look at this triangle.
A by 2 square plus h square is equal to R.
Very good. So h square plus a square by 4, which is a by 2 whole square, is r square. So h square turns out to be r square minus a square by 4. But a I gave as √3r for that purpose. So this becomes 3r square by 4, which is r square by 4. So h turns out to be how much? R by 2. That is really nice value. So we now know the coordinate of center. So alpha comma beta, which is the coordinate of center, we are getting as r comma r by 2, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And then we are done, because we know the radius, we know the coordinate of center, we have the x minus alpha whole square plus y minus beta whole square equals to radius square. And this was the answer. So are you realizing the process? See, the process of any mathematical object is the definition. And of course, some mathematical manipulation will be always involved. And we will learn those processes only by practicing. So with time, you will develop this natural, the manipulation ability. If you are doing at home, of course. If only I am doing here, so you will not learn anything. But if you are doing also at home, if you are revising these notes, practicing these questions, you will change very rapidly. You will see a sudden rise in your understanding of world of science. Okay, so I'll not teach much of circle. That's only just introduction. And again, I'm teaching, if something I'm teaching, there's a purpose in physics. Okay. So next is called ellipse. Okay. Now ellipse is very nice, like you can always do at home. Take 2 points and you can call it S1, S2. A point P, you can take a thread which is much bigger than the separation between S1, S2. Okay, you can just take a loose thread. So make sure that the length of the thread is much more than the separation between S1, S2. You can take S1, S2 as 2 fixed point. So you can put a 2 nail on a cardboard, that's simple. And then attach one end of the thread to the first nail and other end at the second nail, keeping the length much bigger than the separation. Now take a pencil and stretch the thread. So once you stretch the thread, it will look like this. Your pencil tip is somewhere here. So as you move the point P, keeping the both string taut, and if you move it, you will eventually draw a shape and this shape we call as ellipse, and the points are called foci. Because this is not a center, so we call it foci. So this is the focus number 1, and this is the focus number 2. The plural of focus is foci. What is the plural of radius? Radii. What is the plural of syllabus? Syllabi. So these are the simple unique plurals, foci, radii, syllabi, because these are mostly French words. Okay. So what is the definition now? The length is the total length of the string is constant. Correct. So the total length of this string turns out to be constant. And that is the definition that if S1P plus S2P always remains constant, then the P, which is my point, that will traverse a path which we call ellipse. So how to put in this into words? So it is the locus of points, locus of a point, which moves in such a way that sum of its distance from two fixed points remains constant. The fixed point, or we can say points, are called foci, or you can say focus. The two are called foci. So the fixed points are called focus. And the center is of course the geometrical center. So we have to draw and you can clearly see if I draw any ellipse of a shape like this, so it will have something well defined here. So you can see the flatter part will give you the two different kind of length. So this length is a part of y-axis and this length is a part of x-axis. And we denote these lengths by the symbol a comma b. Okay. What I'll do is I'll just remove this y. So to make it a general expression, let's say the center, this is the center. So we have the foci. It's called S and S dash. And the center coordinate we take as alpha comma beta. And now I'll draw a bigger coordinate for the entire ellipse. And we are keeping it parallel to x and y axis because that formula will be simple. Okay. So the question is, what will be the equation of this ellipse? So the A and B, the A is called the same, which means half, major axis. So this point from here to here, this is called major axis and this is called minor axis. And A typically denotes the length of semi-major axis. Same is half of the major axis. That means semi. And B is called the length of the same minor axis. Alpha beta is of course center. And S dash are the foci. And the equation is very simple. So the way of writing equation is x minus alpha whole square upon a square. Now see, here comes the a. And y minus beta whole square upon b square is 1. So a and b are not same. And this is how we write the equation. You're just supposed to know it. If origin coincides with the center, then alpha beta becomes 0. So if origin coincides with center, then the equation becomes really simple. X square by a square plus y square by b square equals to 1. Okay. And this way of writing is called equation of ellipse, in which the axis of the ellipse are parallel to the axis of the plane. So I can just call it x dash and y dash. So there are two things. One is called the axis of ellipse, other is called the axis of plane. And those two things, if parallel to the x and y axis of the coordinate system, then this is the formula. If someone will draw something like this, if you draw an ellipse like this, then it's very difficult using the, I mean, of course, you cannot use this formula to write the answer. So there you need to again use the definition and you will draw the axis. So now the A and B will represent this and this. So there are other ways of deriving it. So the other way is called the different definition of ellipse. That's called the concept of directrix. Directrix, I think tricks or directrix. So the concept of directrix is the base by which the mathematical definition comes into picture. Okay. So of course we'll learn all those things in mathematics, and that to end of the class 12 syllabus. And what we know is sufficient for physics. The other diagram, which is again very famous, so there might have studied all this. No? Ellipse is over. There.
Yeah.
So you know how to write the question of the treated axis equation.
Yeah, like we tell the origin only. Like
Yeah, like. Okay, I mean, don't remember as of now. Okay, no, not. Okay, I'll give you a glimpse of something called rectangular hyperbola. Rectangular, which is very, very common in physics. So let's say if the product of two number is always constant, if the product of two number is always constant, sorry, then this is called rectangular hyperbola. So if one will increase, other has to decrease because the product is constant, isn't it? So if x will tending to 0, the y must tend to infinite because the product we have to keep is constant, isn't it? Hello, hello, hello. The product of two number is constant. Let's say the product of two number is 10. Let's take 12. So I can add 12 as 1 into 12. I can add 2 into 6, 3 into 4. So you can clearly see it as this is going from 1 to 3, this is going 12, 6, 4. So if one is increasing, other is decreasing, but the product is always constant. So if I say that if one is almost 0, so let's say if x is 0.001, how much y should we to get 10? So y becomes 10,000, isn't it? Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
So if x is very small, y is very large, you can see x is fraction of a, it's a 1/100th, 1,000th of a million. Yeah, it is 1/1000, and y is 10,000. So if x will be really, really, really small, y will be really, really, really large. So can we say if x will tend to 0, the y will tend to what? If x will approach 0, the y will approach
Infinity.
infinity. Yeah, very good. If x will approach 0, the y will approach infinity. That is the answer. And if x will approach minus, like a negative number towards 0, so y will again approach minus infinity. So this graph, we cannot draw this graph for exact 0, only for tending to 0. And it looks really nice. So the graph will look like this. So you will never reach or touch the y-axis. Y will be approaching 0. So this is called asymptotic graph. It looks like this. So the graph will become parallel to these axes. You cannot make it touching the axis because you will never reach the x-axis. As x will become infinite, y will become 0. But as x will approach 0, y becomes infinite. So these are called asymptotic graph, like graph which are almost touching the axis. Asymptotic. So graph which are almost touching the axis but not touching the axis, almost close. So graph will eventually become parallel to the line. Okay. Almost parallel. And they will never meet those lines. And it will have the other part also. So this is the rectangular hyperbola graph. And we generally write as c by x, like y equals to c by x, 1 by x. It is proportional to 1 by x. And for positive x, it's the positive side. It's negative x, it's on the negative side. And this kind of graph is quite common, quite popular in physics. What is the role of constant? So the constant will give you the separation from the origin, the separation between the graph and the. So it is again like if you draw a perpendicular, this represents basically constant generally. Okay. So in this particular case, if I take a 45-degree, then this is for 45-degree, this is the constant. So it really forms something like a rectangle. Something like this. So the graph will be touching the rectangle, and maybe that is the reason we call it hyperbola. So in every hyperbola, there is always a rectangle. For a rectangular hyperbola, the condition is that the xy is always same. But the general equation of a hyperbola is, so a general hyperbola is the, you know what is, you can realize this. If I reverse these two hyperbola, it will eventually join each other, right? If I like invert it, it will meet together and it will form something like an ellipse. So you can think the hyperbola is like the ellipse on the other side. You can think that way. So a general way of drawing the hyperbola that you draw a rectangle. And then, so you will have a graph like this. And you will have a graph like this. Okay. And basically this line is called directrix. Generally this line is not this line. The axis is called directrix here. And the general equation of hyperbola we write as x square by a square minus y square by b square equals to. So the only difference is between the ellipse and hyperbola is like the plus will be replaced by minus. And this represents the general equation of hyperbola. Again, we are assuming the axis to be parallel to the axis of the coordinate system. And here the center is, of course, the center is origin. If you shift again, something else will come. And if I put this side as 1 as 0, the moment to make it 0, this will become a rectangular hyperbola. It will just bend like this. Anyway. So any other shape left? Parabola. Okay, I missed the parabola. Oh, parabola we have done. Parabola is all about we have done in quadratic. So the entire quadratic is parabola. Okay. So y equals to something x square plus bx plus c. A general quadratic function represents a parabola. And if a is positive, it is always upward parabola. And if a is negative, it is always downward parabola. That's a parabola in general. But the other way of writing the equation of parabola is something which you will come across is y square equals to 4ax. Here the square is with the y, not with the x. So basically this kind of graph will reverse the axis. So it is again a parabola, but instead of concave up or concave down, it will be concave right or concave left. So this graph in which y is squared instead of x, the graph will be opening towards the x-axis, something like this. So when the graph is opening towards right or left, it means the y is squared, and the point a comma 0 is called focus. So we don't have center for parallel, but we only have the focus, and this is called a, and this is the standard equation of 4ax. Y square equals to 4x, in which a comma 0 is the focus, and of course a is positive, so it this side, and if a is negative, it will just reverse like this. So it is again y square equals to 4ax, but a is negative. So this is a comma 0, but a itself is negative number, so that's why it is on this side. But when the square is on the x, it is upward and downward. So you have to be very careful. The y square equals to some x equals to something y square. That's a right left opening, and x is square, which means y is linear and x is quadratic. Then it is upward and downward. Okay. So this is what you are supposed to know, the basic, and these are also the basic graph that you should know how to plot it. Okay. So at the end of this maybe mathematical tools, I will teach you the graph in detail, and that will take away the burden of learning in maths. Okay. So now we can go to a new topic. We are done with the coordinate geometry, right? And just we need to know everything. So we'll go to something called binomial. So in binomial means basically two terms. So let's say if we have to expand a plus b whole square, but what we can write? A square plus 2ab plus b square. And if I keep on increasing the power, the number of terms will be one more than the power, right? So you can see when the power is 2, how many terms we have? Hello. The
Three
total
terms.
number of terms are 3 if the power is 2. So if the power is 3, the number of terms we can expect is
4.
4 terms. And actually we have 4 terms, right? And we have seen this. Now this way of writing is okay up to 2 or 3, but if we want to write something as a general power of n, where n is some integer, and of course positive integer, so n belongs to some positive integers. That's I for integer, plus for positive integer, and this is the sign for belongs to. So n is a number which belongs to some positive integer. This is how we write in maths, right? Then if I want to write a plus b to the power n, then there should be some generic way of writing. So here comes the some idea of permutation and combination. So I'll just give you a glimpse of it. And before that, we'll give you the idea of factorial. So anybody who is aware of factorial?
Yes.
Not you, except Garv. Anybody else?
Yes, so
Rugved, do you know factorial? So factorial is the consecutive product of natural number, right?
Yes.
So consecutive product of natural number. So by definition, or you can say by assumption, the factorial 0, this is the notation of factorial, this is how we read, or you can add 0 with exclamation mark. So both are called factorial notation. So factorial 0 is written in two ways. One with L shape, and then you put everything inside this line, the base line. And as the bigger the number, can keep on increasing the base. You can write as 235, 57, 9, 4, 3, 2. So this is how we write. Or you can write as something like this with this symbol. Both are meaning same. It's factorial. Now, one thing which you need to remember is that factorial 0 we always write as 1. So it is some sort of mathematical constant, because if we don't assume something, it will become baseless. So we put some base that okay. And second is that we find the factorial only for the natural number, with the exception that we define 0 as 1. Okay. For any negative number, it is always 0. So it's like we don't define. So if you have a negative number, we say it's a 0 answer. So what is the meaning of factorial 1? So you start with a 0 multiply with 1. No, you can't do that. You have to start with 1. So it is 1, and the factorial 1 is 1. Nothing is there. If it is factorial 2, then we'll start with 1 into 2. So the 2 is representing the last number. If it is 3, then 1, 2, 3. And it is 4, then 1, 2, 3 into 4. So if I write here factorial 10, what does it mean? 1 into 2 into dot 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 up to 10. So what is the meaning of factorial n? 1 into 2 into dot 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 dot. Then n minus 2 into maybe something like this, n minus 1 into n. Can we write like this? Yes or no? And if I ask you, what is this number? Can we write this entire term in terms of factorial? Hello, hello, hello.
N minus 1 factorial.
Yeah, n minus 1 factorial. And then n will come as a number. And this is a very famous formula that n factorial is always the n number multiplied with 1 less factorial. So this formula will help you in solving the factorial divisions. So to solve the factorial division, we always use this method. So you remove one number and then one lesser factorial will be there. So factorial n is always n into n minus 1 factorial. That's simple. Now there are two operations in maths. One is called the OR operation, and another is called the AND operation. OR and AND. The OR operation is addition, AND is called product. So we have two types of operation: addition or product, OR and AND. So let's say if this is your home, and one side we have the some PVR, and one side is your school. And to go to school, there are three possible ways in which you can go to school. But to go to PVR, you have, let's say, only two paths. And you have a choice that you can either go to school or you go to PVR. Okay. So first of all, you will either go to school or go to PVR. So what is the total path available here? Either to go to school or to go to PVR. So to go to school, I have three paths. But to go to PVR, how many paths we have? Two paths. So the total path is 3 plus 2. Because I'm saying either you can go to PVR or you can go to school. If you go to PVR, you have 2 paths possible, but if you go to school, you have 3 paths possible. So the OR means we are adding the situation. The other way of writing is or thinking is, so let's say if you want to go from A to C via B. Now your destination is fixed. You want to go to C, but B is the, let's say, toll plaza. You have to cross this toll plaza. Only then you can reach C. There is no alternative path. Imagine. And to reach B, there are 3 paths. But to reach from B to C, there are only 2 paths possible. In how many ways we can go to A to C via B? So number of possible paths to go from A to C via B is how much? So you can go from A to B like this, and then you can choose B to C. Then for every path from A to B, we have 2 possible paths, correct? So how many total paths is possible from A to C? Can you see? So to go from A to C, we have to go to A to B and B to C. So you will go from A to B and you will go from B to C. The and is inherently there. So what are the total possible ways to reach from A to C?
6 ways.
6 ways. So this is the 3 ways from A to B and 2 ways from here. So because each event is inevitable, I have no choice. I have to fulfill both choice, because to reach C, I have to go to B for sure, and only then I can go to C. So I have to anyway 3 possibility to go to B, and there are 2 possibility to go to B to C. So the total number of ways is always the product 3 into 2, which is 6. So the concept of combination is like the choices you make, okay, and the permutation is like the orderness, like how you arrange it. Okay, so the choices of and the orderness, you can say the way to arrange, is called permutation and combination. So of course I will not go in detail of that. And the binomial formula which we just studied here, the a square plus b square plus 2ab, or a square plus 2a plus b square, the number which you write here 1 2 1, you can see these are numbers which we don't realize. These are called binomial coefficients, because you multiply to these terms. So here we have 1, then you can see we have 3, we have 3, we have 1. So this 1 3 3 1 are called binomial coefficients, and the binomial coefficients actually represent combination. So we will come to this, the term combination. So these are called combination. I'll just give you a small glimpse of it. So let's say a plus b whole square is representing, let's say there are 2 buckets, and in each bucket we have 1 banana and 1 apple. So 1 banana, 1 apple, 1 apple, 1 banana in each bucket, and then the power is denoting that pick the number of fruits. Pick the number of fruits. So the 2 means pick 2 fruits. And because you're supposed to pick 2 fruits, and you have 2 apple in 2 buckets, and 2 separate buckets, 1 apple and 1 banana in each bucket, and you have to pick 2 fruits. Okay. So you can pick A, B, either from here or from here. So in how many ways you can pick 1 apple and 1 banana? Okay. So there are 2 choices. You have 2 buckets to choose from, correct? So to select 1 apple and 1 banana, A and B, I have 2 choices. I can pick AB from first and AB from second. So we have 2 choices. And in how many ways we can pick 2 apple? Now to pick 2 apple, you have to pick from both basket together. That's the only way. So how many choices we have? There only one choice to pick both the apples. And how many choices we have to pick both the banana? There's only one option. Pick both banana from each basket. So the 1 to 1 is representing a choices. The A square is representing the number of fruits you are picking. And if you add the power of A and B, it is always 2, 2, 2, 2, everything. So everything in binomial having some physical meaning. So the A square is representing that the selection is confined to 2 objects. Okay, so if the binomial power is n, then how many objects we have to pick from? If I write A plus B power n, what does it mean? The meaning is, hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
So what is the meaning of A plus B to the power a number n? So how many objects we are supposed to pick now? Hello.
n plus 1.
No. How many objects we are supposed to pick? I'm not saying the
Two-
number
two
of
objects.
terms. We have to pick n objects. The power represents the number of objects you are going to pick. Like A plus B whole square, you're supposed to pick 2 fruits, right? So A plus B power n means you have to pick how many fruits? You're supposed to pick n fruits from n basket. So you have n basket each with apple, banana, apple, banana, apple, banana. You can think that way. And you're supposed to pick n fruits. Now with n, it is difficult to put into a value. We can do the common sense method only for 2, 3, up to 4 maybe. That will be anyway difficult. So if n becomes really large, then we need some mathematical way to deal with such selection. And that is how we deal with. So there is a formula for it. You just supposed to remember. Rest you will study in algebra of maths. So A plus B to the power n. Okay. It means you have to pick n object in total. So the way of writing is very interesting. NC0. We start with NC0. What is NC means? N out of n object. C means choose 0 apple. So if you choose 0 apple, then how many banana you will choose? N banana, because you have only 2 objects. No? So if I am telling you that you have to choose n object, but don't choose any apple, so what you will choose? Only banana. Understood? Hello, hello, hello.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the meaning. Like choosing 0 apple is choosing n banana. So if I write NCR, what does it mean? Choose R apple or n minus R banana. So if I will choose R apple, in a way I can say I am choosing n minus R banana. It's the same thing, isn't it? Because the total number is fixed. And if you choose R apple, then how many banana you have to choose?
N minus R.
N minus R. Is this clear, guys? So the NCR is a way of writing in which n is says that the total number you have to pick anyway. The C is called selection or choice, or you can say choose. And R always talks about the first term, the A plus B in the binomial, the first term, that choose R apple. And the remaining will by default become banana. Okay. And how we write this term? So the term in which you choose R apple and n minus R banana, this is a very nice way of writing. So I'll just show you. So this is the first term. We start with the first term. And what you are choosing? Choose no apple and all banana. This is how we write. This is the first term. Plus means in math, the plus always represents or. Okay. So when I write plus, it means it's a or. Or because see, I have to choose n object. Then how many possibilities are there? So I can choose no apple, only banana. I can choose one apple and n minus one banana, isn't it? So out of n object, choose one apple. How to write a1? But how many banana now? N minus one. Simple. And which means or. I will choose two apple. Very good. So then how many banana I have to pick? Tell me, guys.
N minus 2.
And see, you are writing every time you're writing plus, you're saying the other possibility of doing the selection, right? This is the one way of doing it. This is the other way of doing it. This is the other way of doing it. And similarly, the next term will be what? Can you tell me what is the next term going to be? NC.
A
So,
to the power 3, B
and
to
B
the power
power.
n minus 3.
Okay. And in this way, you keep on doing, then eventually you reach here NCN minus 2. What does it mean? How many apple? How many apple I have to pick now?
N minus 2.
So how many banana I must pick? Because the total is n, so how many banana?
N minus 2.
Which is
2.
2. Simple. If n minus 2 is apple, then I must pick 2 banana because I need to pick n objects in total. The next one will be NCN minus 1. How many apple?
N minus 1.
NCN minus 1. So how many apple? N minus 1. Then how many banana?
1.
Very simple. And the last one we can write as NCN, like pick all apple, no banana. Understood? So that's called the binomial expansion. And the plus is saying that either I will do this or this or this or this or this or this or this. Like so that in total, how many types of selection we can make? So you can see the number of terms are n plus 1. So the total terms here are total terms will be how much? So we have n plus 1 possible ways in which the choices can be made. Understood? So to pick n objects, there are n plus 1 choices. I mean, n plus 1 possible ways. And for every way, there is a number of choices. You can see the first way is the formula will give you the answer. So binomial numbers, the binomial power is so much interesting. I mean, it's like it is conveying some story actually. And you're not supposed to mug up all this thing. It's very simple. I mean, when you learn maths, you come to know these are very simple terms. It's like some sort of story that we are trying to put into numbers, like some symbols. And a plus b whole square is similar way. Either you pick both apple, a square, there is only one choice, or you pick one apple, one banana, so we have now two choices. Or you can pick both banana, so again we have only one choice. So the choice is the way to see through the world of permutation and combination, and you will, as you learn more, you will really enjoy this part. Okay. Now the question is how to write NCR in a factorial representation. So NCR, which will come somewhere here, I can put a place here NCR, and I can say a power r and b power n minus r. So how we define NCR, how we do this selection. Of course, this is a proof of it, which we'll study in maths. I'll just give you the formula. So NCR we can write as factorial n divided by factorial n minus r and factorial r. This is the definition. the numerator will be factorial n, and the denominator will be r and n minus r factorial taken as a product. And basically this comes through the definition of the number of ways. Okay, so the n minus r is one term and we are multiplying with other term. So it's like you have to go from A to B and then B to C, and you have to achieve both the tasks because you have to pick apple and banana for sure. So you're actually picking the apple in factorial r ways, and you're picking the banana in factorial n minus r ways. So to pick both to complete the event, you are doing the product, and factorial n is the total number of ways in which n foods can be arranged, and the NCR is saying that how many possible ways of achieving the task. So of course, I mean, it is not only this much, it's much beyond that. So NCR is representing again some story which we'll learn later on. But NCR you can write mathematically as factorial n upon factorial n minus r into r factorial. So it's like the way it is defined, or it's not defined, it's of course proven. In maths, you can always prove everything. And now what you can do next? Use the factorial definition to get any answer. So NCR we write as factorial n upon factorial n minus r into r. And given some number, you can always get the easier answer. So if I ask you what is the 10C2? So how we can write 10 factorial upon the apple 2 and the banana 8. It's simple, very simple. 10 is total. The bottom is 2 means apple and banana. So you multiply the apple and banana and divide from this factorial 10. So what is the answer? Now how to do this manipulation? So the biggest number is 10. So I'll always start with 10. So I can remove 10. What I'll get? Factorial 9. Okay. But the nearest number is 8 to cancel. So I'll take 9 common also. So what will become? Factorial 8. And then we have 2. 2 is simple. So I can write 2 as 2 into 1, which is 2. And this factorial 8 will not cancel out. So how much we're getting the answer? 2, 5, 10. This turns out to be 45. What does it mean? If you have to pick 2 objects out of 10 objects, then how many ways you can achieve? 45 ways. I will show you for the small part because for big number it's difficult. Imagine you have 4 pigeonholes or simply 4 boxes. Because the 4 is a small number, I can play with 4. So let's say we have 4 pigeonholes. Okay. And every box can contain only one object. And in total we have how to say this? Let me give you permutation actually. Yeah, so let's say we have 4 objects, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you want to pick 2 objects. So pick 2 out of 4. So you have to pick 2 objects out of 4. So how you can pick? So you will, let's say if you start with A, then you can pick A and B is one combination, or you can pick A and C, or you can pick A and D. But if you start with B, so you can pick B and C or B and D. And if you start with C itself, so if you start with C, the only way is picking is C and D. and I'm always going forward because the earlier pick is done. So we can pick either A and B, A or C, A and D, or if we start with B, then B, C, B, D, B, and if we start with C, then C, D. I cannot start with D because D will not meet with anyone. D is already met with A here, B here, and C here. So you can see if I want to pick only 2 objects out of 4 objects, then how many possible ways we have? Can you count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 possible ways, isn't it? Hello, hello. Okay, this is clear. Hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
The other way of thinking is you have only 2 boxes. So only 2 person can go inside each box. Like 1 person can go inside each box. So I have to pick only 2. I have 4 objects. I have 4 objects, but I have to fill only 2 places. So if I have 4 objects, but if I have only 2 places to fill, so the first place, if I start from here, the first place have how many choices to make? This can pick any one of the 4, isn't it? So the first box can be filled in how many ways?
4.
4 ways. 1, 2, 3, 4. But once I fill the first box, how many objects are left to fill in the second box?
3.
Okay. So you can fill the first box with 4 objects, then second will have only 3 options. So the total number of ways is how much? You can see 4 into 3, which is how much?
Well-
But the problem is the order doesn't matter. I can put anyone here and anyone here. So it's called the symmetrical situation because we have to only pick 2 objects. So I could have done in the other way around. Okay. So it really doesn't matter. So for every symmetrical situation, it will divide by the 2. So the only option left with is 6. Because I have choice of putting A right and B left, or B right and A left. But in case of selection, we are not bothered about who is on the left and who is on the right. What we are only concerned about is who are there present. I just want 2% to be present. And the order is not important. So when we don't consider the order, the options will, because we are talking about the choices, not the arrangement. So when you learn the concept of arrangement, the order will matter because A left and B right is not same as B left and A right. Okay. So again, of course, we will study all this thing in detail. So something called arrangement, and that's called permutation. So permutation is the way to arrange things, and combination is only choice which you make. So you can see the NCR is only representing the choices, that how many ways. So this is the choice you make. This is the choice you make. But when you multiply these 2 choices, what we call is the arrangement. Okay. For 2, it's easy. We know that I can divide by 2 to get the real choices which I have made. Okay. So NCR formula you have to just remember, which is factorial n upon. And this will help you in writing the binomial terms. Now, what is particularly interested in from the point of view of physics, that the expression that we wrote for binomial. So I'll add few terms like NC1. NC0 is how much? So NC is factorial n upon. This is interesting. Factorial 0 and factorial n. How much is this? So NC0, that pick all apple, all banana, or you can say NCN, pick all banana, are the same. So NC0 means pick all, pick nothing, like pick no apple. Don't pick any apple, only pick banana. So if you pick only banana, then how many ways you have available? You have only one way of doing it, right?
Yes, sir.
And if you pick all apple, it is also only one way. Can we have 2 ways of picking all apple?
Also,
So NC0 is always same as NC1 and it is always equals to 1. In general, you will realize that NCR is always same as NC n minus R. Of course, it won't be 1, it will have some other value. But this is very interesting. Either you pick, if I give you that how many apple you are supposed to pick, by default, I also give you the instruction that how many banana you have to pick, isn't it? Because the total is fixed. So both are same instruction. Either you pick R apple or you pick n minus R apple, both are same. Yes or no? Because if you are picking R apple, you are picking by default n minus R banana and vice versa. So both are numerically giving you the same coefficient. So NCR is always same as NC n minus R. If you want to prove it, it's very simple. What is this term? Factorial n upon R into n minus R. And if you look carefully, this is nothing but the, isn't it? It's the same term. And this is nothing but the NCR. So NCR is always same as NC n minus R, which means 10C2 is same as, can you guess? NC8. 5C4 is same as
5C1.
and that is why if you see the what is this Pascal's triangle, you must see that that coefficients are symmetrically placed on both sides. Have you seen that triangle? So we always have the symmetricity of the coefficients on both sides. Like 1, 1, and then we have 1, 2, 1, and then we have 1, 3, 3, 1. So coefficient from left and right at equal distance will have same value. Nothing. The next is 1, 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. So from this side is same value. And this side is same value. So if you move right or left equidistant, you will get the same coefficients. So NCR and NC n minus R is always same. Just remember this formula. So 5C4 is always same as 5C1. Okay. So I am particularly interested for this part, which is called 1 plus x power n. 1 plus x power n. That's very interesting. So we can write as NC0. And now you can see apple is replaced by 1 and banana by x, isn't it? So by writing like this, it's why it is interesting, because now 1 power anything is 1. So I am only supposed to write the power of banana. So how I can write? NC0, a power 0 and b power. Hello. So okay, what I'll do is I'll make it better. Just so you can write as x plus 1. That's easy to understand. And right, so we can write x plus 1 power n. So what is apple now? Apple is x. Banana is 1. So the first term will be how much? NC0. X power how much? 0. And this power n. The next term will be how much? NC1. X power 1. And 1 power n minus 1. The third term will be how much? Keep on telling me, guys. So NC n minus 1. X power n minus 1 and 1 power 1. Correct? And the last term is NCN x power n 1 power 0. If you look carefully, 1 power anything is 1 only. So can we write this as NC0 plus NC1x plus NC2x square and dot NCN x power n. This is a nice way of writing. So it's like the power of x and the the coefficient are same. So now I will reverse it because I have derived it. Now I can reverse it. So this is the easy to remember. NC0 plus NC1x, NC2x square, and the last term is NCn x power n. Okay, if I put x equals to 1, what I'll get? 1 plus 1 power n, and every x will vanish. Now we have only coefficients. So the sum of binomial coefficients is always equals to how much? The sum of binomial coefficients is always equals to 2 to the power n. Understood? You know why? Because again, there's a logic for it. Binomial means we have only two boxes. Okay, so we have two fruit, let's say two variety of fruits, A, B, A. So if I have, let's say 4 power is 4, so it means we have 4 boxes to fill. So either every box will have only two choices, either apple or banana. This will have only two choices, either apple or banana, apple or banana, apple or banana. So we have how many choices? 2 power. Every box can be filled by only 2 types of fruits, either apple or banana. And because the power is 4 means we have to fill the, we have to pick 4 location, I mean 4 boxes, we have to fill the 4 boxes. Then every box will have only 2 choices. Either you put the apple or banana, apple or banana, apple or banana. So the concept of binomial translates into multiple ways, and we can see in multiple mathematical formulations. So anyway, well, that's not my concern. My concern is to know or give you the basic, what I need in physics, or what will come across in physics. So this formula is the most important formula for me. Okay. And this formula is again I like in a bit detail actually. So 1 plus x power n, I got nc0, nc1 x, nc2 x square, nc3 x cube, and dot dot dot. Last term is ncn x power. Okay, look at the first term, nc0, like pick nothing. So in how many ways you can pick nothing? So in a plate, if I serve you some dish, and if I tell you don't eat, so in how many ways you can don't eat? There's only one way, don't eat, right? So nc0 is always 1. That's like simple way of thinking. If I give you n possible object, n possible fruits, and if I say pick 1, so in how many ways you can pick?
Anyways,
So nc1 is always n. So up to the 2 terms is very simple. The nc2 is interesting, so I will write nc2, and nc2 we can write as n into like this, n minus 2 and 2. But this is easy to simplify because I can take n outside and I can take n minus 1 outside. So I'll be left with n minus 2 factorial, and then 2 factorial is always 2. So this will cancel out. So nc2 is so famous that you must remember it is n into n minus 1 by 2. So the number of choices you can make from n object, and if you only want to pick 2, you can just write n into n minus 1 by 2. Understood? So the next time you can write is n into n minus 1 by 2, or you can write factorial 2 also into x square. And any other term I can write dot dot dot, because I really want you to remember this formula up to 3 terms, because any other term will have x power 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And why I'm giving this formula? Because there's something called binomial approximation, because that is so much prevalent in physics that you will come across in many chapters. So that's called binomial approximation. So if I have a number like this, and it is given that the value of x is very, very small compared to 1. It's very small. So if x is really small compared to n, then you can see the first term is 1, second term is nx, and x is already very small compared to 1. So any power of x will be even smaller, isn't it? And therefore all other terms will be negligible compared to the first two terms. So we can always approximate the answer only up to this value. Only when, this is only true when x is very, very small than 1. Is this clear? So let's say if I ask you, what is the 1 plus 0, 0, 1 power 10? Now there are two ways of solving. You can take your calculator, 1.001, and put the power 10. And other ways, you write this as 1 plus 0.001 power 10, and you can see this term is very, very small compared to 1. So I can write the binomial approximation as 10 into 0.001, which is roughly 1.0 point, how much? 1. So 10 will shift the decimal from here to here. 0.01, right? So it is roughly 1.01. I mean, of course, there is no need to use calculator. So even if you use calculator, you will get close to this answer. You can check. So approximation values we can easily calculate once we know that the other term is very small. If someone is asking you find the value of 0.98 power 6, roughly how much is that without using calculator? Can you tell me this value without using calculator? So you can write this as 1 minus 0.02. That's easy way of writing. Or you can write as 1 plus minus 0.02 power. So again use the binomial approximation. Why? Because 0.02 is very small compared to 1. This is roughly 1 plus 6 times, which is how much? 12, 0.1. And it is again, I think 0.88, correct? So let's use the calci and see if it is matching. 0.98 power 6. Oh my God, it's quite close. So at least it is matching up to second term, which is correct. Okay. So do you see the power of approximation in maths and how maths facilitates various kind of approximation? In fact, the way computer is able to calculate the answer is using the binomial expansion. So even in calculator, I mean, when we write the program in any language, we write these terms up to maybe 20th term and 30th term, and we leave it. Because we know that if I want the approximation up to order 20 place of decimal, I will just write this term up to 20 terms, I will stop it. So I cannot find the accuracy up to infinite terms. I mean, there is a limitation of computer up to which you can find the accuracy because it's a mathematically driven. Computer is doing nothing. It only does, I mean, what we instruct. So it is so dumb that it will only perform what you say to perform. It will never perform what it wants. Okay, so I think with this, we should stop today's lecture. And the next lecture, I'm going to start calculus. I just wanted to reach the binomial part. Okay, you talked what you told me about the logarithm and exponential. I'll teach you that part also. It's very easy. We'll see how and what is the purpose of logarithm. So bye guys, take care. and I wish you all a very happy Janmashtami again. See you on Wednesday. Anyone having any doubt so far?
No doubt, sir.
And please remember, see what I have highlighted, you must remember this. Okay. What you can practice is only practice straight line from, if you want to practice from any book, practice only straight line part, because the rest is not required for physics. The rest you will learn as you progress in physics. Definitely will also progress in maths, so you will learn all those things. The thing which you must practice at this stage is trigo part as much as possible. So try to complete the trigo till the mass what it demands. Try to complete the straight line part as much as you can, and the basic equation of circle, ellipse. And if you have the curiosity, you can read about it. Keep books at home. Try to open the book of maths. Try to see what is happening there in the chapter. So these ideas which I have shared will be, sufficient to start reading those books. I mean, now you can read at least that what is there. So keep your connection with maths good. The face will be anyway good. Bye and take care.
Bye, sir. Thanks.